As a business owner, you do need strategy and the best team of experts and consultants. But before that, you need self awareness. The more self aware you are, the higher the likeliness of ROI on your brand. The more you know yourself, the more equitable you become. So, we're going to take a deep dive in the science behind the power of delusional self confidence. So we're going to debunk how it's not delusion at all, it is the existential truth. And how true your existential reality is solely depends on you, how you see yourself, and the actions that you take that manifest your perception of yourself into reality. Before we dissect the insight based, logical explanation behind using delusional self confidence to leverage your brand and manifest business success, we're going to analyze the state of marketing. So, let's suppose you walk into a party and this guy walks in. And don't worry, I'm building up to why I'm using Adam Driver from the Super Bowl commercial. This guy walks in and he goes on and on about how special and how unique and how different he is. And to make it worse, every other guy in the party is doing the same thing. He's not the only boastful one in the party. In real life, they all have different appearances, different races, different choices in style and fashion, different speech dialogues. But subliminally, the narrative that they preach is the same. Look how great I am. Me, me, me. And how does that make you feel about that guy? A very natural and normal reaction would be to be icked out, and you would think that it's bizarre, and you would want to get out of that conversation and talk to anybody who isn't so tragic trying to sell themselves. But here's the punchline. That is exactly what every other brand is doing out there. That's where we're going wrong. Trying to be friends with everybody, constantly talking about ourselves. This is how we think we look, but this is how we really look. So ironically, Squarespace's Super Bowl commercial is a brilliant piece given the idea that it's a website making websites. The irony is that it's a website making websites. And that is exactly what web development consultants warn you against. Because at the end of the day, no matter how bespoke they claim your website will be, it is still cookie cutter. And back to the point, when we say brands talk about themselves, let's dissect that even deeper. What does talking about themselves mean? One might think that that's how brand awareness campaigns work, right? How else is it done? You have a better idea? Well, we hear this again and again. It's the thought that counts. So naturally, people can sniff out when you haven't given them much thought. And when you're thinking your marketing, it's not your marketing, it's theirs, the customers. So when brands are trying to even deliver value, they're thinking about themselves. When somebody is doing something for you to get something in return, you can smell that because your survival instincts kick in and you're in defense mode. Inevitably, you don't enter that conversation with an open mind because people hate being sold to, even if they initiated that arrangement in the first place. In creative agencies, we find ourselves in that very tricky gray area from time and time again, where they want your solution, but they still want you to convince them to buy your service. And the clients come in with this attitude like, no matter how big the agency, why should I care about what you have to say or tell me something I don't know? In a sales setting, it's only natural to not agree straight away because it takes time to accept foreign ideas. So imagine if you needed something from someone, and if you know what you need, you might know who might be able to help you. You're willing to invest your time and money into that specific person or product or service because you don't want to have to deal with this problem that's bothering you again and again. The problem is hurting you and you're not looking for a band-aid. You're looking for an effective solution. You want to rid yourself of that inconvenience. Thus, you don't want to do things. You want to do things right from the start. That is the beauty of common sense. And it's not just an equitable decision for the time being, it is also future damage control. We're not talking about the damage that is the void left in the CEO's heart. It's not that bad, he'll get over it. We're talking about Key decision makers collectively agreeing to a decision, and when everything goes left, they're completely unaccountable. The client would blame the agency would blame the manager, vice versa, poor communication, and catastrophic management, all due to lack of clarity. This is why I feel that the agency model should be reinvented, and that is not to imply that we've been doing things wrong all along and we should stop doing awareness campaigns or pitches altogether. I do believe that there are more efficient ways to do things, however. So, the ideal course of action obviously is to take all the safety measures from the start, know what you want, diagnose and prescribe collaboratively instead of dictating strategy. And when you have certain liberties such as time and the luxury to play the long game, that is what you should put your energy into. So, speaking of clarity, how does one become so decisive and approach decision making in the affirmative rather than on survival mode? How do people know what they want? In simplest of terms, you just have to be self-aware. So I witnessed this situation from time and time again. I don't want to talk about who, but it happens. This person gets very hangry and they walk into a restaurant and they have no idea what they want, and then they ask the waitress or the waiter for the special, and then they get disappointed by what's the special, and then they throw this whole tantrum just because they don't know what they want. So avoid that. According to research, people who lack self-awareness focus on their intent rather than the impact of their behavior on other people. And this is a mindset problem. It can also be like a trauma response based on how somebody grew up. Makes sense why they say to be successful, you need to have very high EQ, just as much as you need IQ, because we're in the business of people. So you have to be good with people. And the best place to inspire change is by starting with yourself. Your top priority should be nurturing your mind, eliminating limiting beliefs, because a lot of the mindset problems in society come from limiting beliefs. And those limiting beliefs are infused from a very young age, and they shape up your personality, which tests your endurance. When you go through adversity, do not let your downfalls turn into a sob story. Focus on turning your adversity into your origin story, because your story is what you make of it. So, how do we solve that crippling self-sabotage problem? Reprogram your mindset, learn, unlearn, and relearn. Though it sounds like such a nuisance, these days people have more excuses to make more excuses. And after a lifetime of being unaccountable, what more can you expect than to lead an unfulfilling life, doing things you don't want to do for people you don't even like, simply because you just have to do them for survival? And this is not even the most tragic part. When you lack self-awareness, you eventually forget who you are, hence end up in a really dark place mentally and form a very, very low opinion of yourself just because of the circumstances. Your talents, all your potential goes to waste. You forget about the fact that there is so much value and so many positive things you bring to the table, you bring to the world, simply by just being yourself. Let me say that again. All the positive things that you bring to this world. There is no if. There is no uncertainty about the fact that you as an individual are a source of greater good in this world. There are people who need you. And this is not just an uplifting statement. This statement, it comes with a responsibility. So you have a responsibility to find yourself, so that all the goodness that awaits you can find you. You shall receive when you are in a state of receiving. Okay, you only score as high as you aim. So do you want to score high or low? That is totally up to you, because you are, and you always will be, the story that you tell yourself about yourself. Your thoughts influence everything that happens in your life. You can change your story to something you can be proud of simply by changing how you speak to yourself. So when you study successful people, you will find a common theme. All of them set out to achieve what they achieved because they believed they could. We're not here to discuss their achievements, however. We're here to discuss the ugly side of success and pay close attention to the part where every successful person faced adversity, rejection, failure, and this is the highlight of their story. We're so obsessed with success that we totally forget about the fact that one has to fail to get there. We only look at the shiny, pretty aftermath of success. Failure is part of the process. Steve Jobs, Muhammad Ali, Elon Musk, notoriously Mark Zuckerberg, they're all normal human beings just like us, but we think of them as some kind of geniuses or that they're lucky. Why? Because we cannot accept the same fate for ourselves. It doesn't seem realistic, or we feel that we don't have what it takes. We don't want to put in the work because failing is uncomfortable, it hurts too much. So we tell ourselves a pitiful story and sit on the very comfy couch called limiting beliefs, and we continue to feel sorry for ourselves while eating Doritos and binge watching Netflix and feeling sorry for everything that we don't have. This doesn't mean something is wrong with us. We just weren't taught to be comfortable with these ideas. We were just taught comfort equals safety, hence, we prefer to stay in our cozy little box, living a lifetime in a box of what's possible. So nothing changes when nothing changes. Speaking of change, regardless of what seems like the best course of action to achieve things, the first thing that changes are your thoughts. All your actions are influenced by a mere thought. A thought as simple as wanting to improve your skill. You sign up for a course to improve your skills. You don't do that because you think you can't do it. You do that because you think you can do it. And that one thought alone, it led to a completely different reality, because when you signed up for that course, you're regularly going to classes, you have a different routine, you're sleeping on time, you're more disciplined, you're surrounded by people who encourage you to be a better person. So, one thought alone is capable of changing your reality. It makes perfect sense now that it takes just one thought to be where you want to be. So now we get to the good part. The same theory applies on brand. As a business owner, you do need strategy and the best team of experts and consultants, but before that, you need self-awareness. The more self-aware you are, the higher the likeliness of ROI on your brand. The more you know yourself, the more equitable you become, the more effectively you can brand yourself, market yourself, disrupt your industry, and so on. So monetize yourself before anything else. The reason being, how can you tell someone what you want or what you will give them when you don't know what value you bring to the table yourself? How can you ask the universe when you don't know what to ask for? The journey to self-awareness is not simple, but there are tangible and intangible steps that you can take to help you get there. The first being sending me an email. I'm just kidding. You can do that if you have the budget for it, but I have something to give you either way, because my purpose is aligning people to their purpose, and alhamdulillah, I'm blessed enough to monetize on that. So I've designed a strategy. I've been working on this for some time now. I designed a framework that I called ANOX. You can use that as an auditing tool. You can use that as a personal branding tool. Everything that we talked about so far, it was all leading up to this. And it was all an explanation of the functionality of the ANOX framework. And it's dissected in small subliminal messages. And it is based on the scientific formula that proves that the statement, "I have no competition because I am me," it is not just a bold assertion, but a strategic reality. Although I don't believe that there is ever like a foolproof framework or success plan for anything, just as there's no straight path to success or fail-proof life plan. But you do need a plan, because success starts with action, and action needs a plan. The first step of that plan is reflection. For you, reflect different aspects of your existential perception through 6 different components of ANOX, okay? Authentic, novel, organic, consistent, holistic spectrum of emotional connectivity, aka ANOX. Each component of the ANOX framework is designed to build a firm foundation for your pre-brand or existential strategy. We will go through existentially challenging exercises to evaluate your authenticity, how well your brand aligns with your true self, finding possible ways to be innovative and disrupt in your industry, the current story that you tell yourself, and then improving that story, a system for consistently making sure you adapt as you grow to stay relevant, evaluating and shaping how your brand is perceived and received, and lastly, measuring emotional intelligence and developing a relationship strategy. So, while going through these exercises, make sure that you're being 100% honest and remember that there are no right or wrong answers. Write the truth even if you don't like it. We do not want to fabricate a false narrative, never. And write your story as it is, and then take the steps to improve it. And we come across this thing from time and time again. Somebody who has a business 10 years down the road, and then they come to this marketing agency or creative to write a brand story for them. And do not fake a story, do not strategically come up with one. Just write your own story and deliver it in a way that your audience can relate to and that best delivers value. The purpose of these exercises is to gain clarity and reflect on parts of ourselves that we often overlook. And once you write your truth out on a document or paper, the path to where you want to be becomes a lot more clearer. And once you reflect and extract your core values, you know where you are and what needs to change, and you're ready to start working on your brand strategy. The brand strategy is also, in fact, existentially challenging, but towards the end of it, you'll feel very enlightened and excited to launch your dreams and bring them to life. So comment Anox if you want a link to the complete exercise. You can have it for free if you wish to do it yourself. Comment clarity if you'd like to hire me to conduct a pre-brand and brand clarity workshop. You can also hire me as your brand coach for a monthly subscription program. Email me for the details. We will explore the Anox and brand science deeper next week. That's all for now. I am Ghayda Mirza, Gigi for non-Arabic speakers, and I'm yours by design. Until next time.